Our keynote speaker this morning is an entrepreneur who is a real estate broker for not one, but two agencies in Barbados. She is a media production company owner, and a TV correspondent. She's also a motivational speaker and life coach, and a radio and television analyst. She received her MBA from the University of Puerto Rico, and also just happens to be an Olympic qualifier in track and field. No big deal. Please help me in giving a YLAI energetic welcome to Charita Adele.
Hello, everyone. Here's hoping all is well with you. And I am so honored to be the keynote speaker today because I am one of you, a unique specimen of adventurer who is not stimulated by the security of a 9-to-5, but hungry for more, stepping outside the box, challenging structure, way more. I am one of you who has always had a magnetic pull to create something from scratch, grind out my own money, never be constrained by a boss, and control my destiny. After all, we crave soul satisfaction, we hunger for self-actualization, we desperately pursue freedom, even though it could mean being enslaved to our craft 15 hours a day. Isn't that ironic? I am one of you. Initially excited at the thought of running my own business, but then looking at my bank account spiral downwards at the speed of light in the early days and wondering, did I make a mistake? Does any of this resonate with you at all? If so, give me an aye. I am one of you. So let's always remember our beginning. Everyone's initiation into entrepreneurship is so different. I was always grinding for as long as I can remember. I was the teenager that when I played Monopoly, I took it personally when you bought up my hotels. Yes, I did. When I went to college, I didn't really know what career I wanted to pursue, like many of us, I'm sure. But I knew that I had to end up being some sort of shot caller, not following orders. I just didn't know how I was going to get there. A friend of mine once described me as nonconformist, anti-establishment. And initially I was like, what in the world is that? But then I saw it as a compliment because it was as she got me. She helped me feel validated in not wanting to run on the proverbial hamster wheel. She recognized that I wanted out of the cage. I was never satisfied with my job, which was in hotel marketing and sales. Don't get me wrong, I was good at it. I was passionate about it, but it just wasn't enough. My unconventional but powerful marketing ideas were often shot down, and I felt so stifled. Sounding familiar to any of you? You want me to be creative, but not too creative? I could see that my salary would never increase, and I felt restricted in a world that wasn't taking full advantage of my skills. I was always twitching for more. I tried so many ways on the side to grind out extra coins. I taught swimming to babies. I taught swimming to adults. I had a speed typing business for university students. I was a Spanish tour guide on my day off. I taught private French lessons to a group of teenage girls. I was busy. Eventually, I got a job in which I had the opportunity to blend hotel marketing and luxury condo sales. I was moving up, or so I thought. Circumstance had it that after I went and bought a fast luxury car, little BMW coupe with some torque, 2 doors, it became a hostile work environment. As the youngest manager in that company and one of the only females, I was getting ahead of myself. Too much of an upstart, it seems. In spite of the growth and success of my department, the hotels were doing well, the condo sales were going well. I was politely, true story, I was politely asked to divorce myself from all external activities. You heard me correctly. So that I could dedicate myself wholeheartedly to their work alone. Yep. As my jaw dropped in open amazement, I heard a faint whisper in the wind. Heard it on my right shoulder that said, Charita, don't worry, this chapter is closed. Without hesitation, I pulled out my pre-written resignation letter and walked off a job that had offered me all the perks, phone, insurance, high salary, and benefits, all the perks that any 30-year-old could want. But I reasoned to myself that I could leave this job. You want to know why? I worked out in my head that once I could cover my basic needs, I'm good. In Barbados, you know, around the place, we might have what you call stand pipes, public pipes where you can catch water. I reasoned if all went wrong, I would have access to water. In my country, we have a starchy fruit called breadfruits. It's a tropical island. We have mangoes, golden apples. I figured I would have carbohydrates from breadfruit and vitamin C. And then I said, I have enough of a sweet mouth to be able to beg, if necessary, for $4. I just needed $4 to buy bread. I could do it. If things got dread and my mother put me out, which I knew she wouldn't, I could beg a friend to sleep in their patio. And guys, I was not too embarrassed to pick out my cute little broad rim hat from my closet and put it on and go and pick cotton. So you see, I worked out that my basic needs would be covered. I would not die. And when you do that, you go forward with no fear. So with the nervousness of no income, yes, I would attend job interviews, but listen to this. I would either sabotage myself during the conversation if I found that they were liking me a little too much, or if it went too well, I would pray that they wouldn't call me back. It was my retiring mother who set me free by asking, Sherry, what are you doing? It's obvious that you can't work for others. She saw my turmoil. Can you believe it? A former secondary school government teacher who worked every day 9 to 3, who didn't know anything about how this entrepreneurship thing was ever going to work out, made room for me to step out. She doesn't understand how pivotal that moment was in letting me know, go ahead, birdie, fly. Then off into the world of real estate, I launched armed with the knowledge from a real estate course and the skills I had learned on the job. I decided to bet on me. There was a reason people hired me. There was a reason people wanted me. I had skills. I'm valuable. I'm going to bet on me. Over the years, I watched my bank account hover many times above zero. Aye, if you know what I'm saying, don't be ashamed, but I stuck with it. I figured that at some point in time, the stars would align and success would surely follow. Just keep planting the seeds, water the business, and keep your blinkers on. I remember going to a Les Brown seminar one night. After all, I was about feeding my mind with positivity. I was going to succeed and be the best realtor ever, and nothing could stop me. Yay! I was so hyped about going to hear this motivational speaker. If anyone was going to talk me happy, it was going to be him. Imagine that in the very introduction, he candidly told a small audience that if any of us were expecting to find true success in the first 10 years of business, we might want to walk out and not hear the rest of what he had to say. Say what? I was livid. I was ready to walk out. How dare he tell me that I can't master my craft in under 10 years? I just paid $100 to hear this. Sadly, he was right. I'm glad I sat through that session. Entrepreneurship is a marathon, people, and not a sprint. And the sooner you embrace that, the easier the journey will be. Don't panic, don't panic. Listen to me carefully. I'm not saying that you won't make money in the first 10 years. Don't panic. I'm not saying that you won't see a profit. But if you want to dominate in your field, it will take time. And I'll tell you about that later. Look at me. Listen to me. I am one of you. I have started businesses from scratch, not really knowing what I was doing, but thought my enthusiasm and my book smarts were enough of an ingredient to catapult me to greatness. I was so naive. Have mercy on me. I have watched a couple of my businesses crash and burn, explode, and burn some more. Nevertheless, amidst the grinding, the hustling, the pushing, the crying, the celebrations, and the meltdowns, the many meltdowns. I do believe that I have figured out the formula in my core business of real estate. You say, what? Mhm. That magical recipe that makes my soul satisfied, but yet I have not arrived. And therein, my friends, is what I call the climb. It's a magical blend of discipline, focus, and consistency, which will determine how far you go. To become the entrepreneur you have the potential to be, you have to cultivate these in your life. I know they sound cliche, but you need to. Then you have to harness the power of your unique story. That's what a lot of people miss. And you mix them together in your customized melting pot and watch your business soar. If you are at the start of your journey, I'm going to blow smoke up your backside today and set you ablaze, passionate, fired up, hungry. And if you're beginning to question, why in the world am I doing this? Why does this hurt so bad? Don't worry, I'm going to rekindle your embers, whether you like it or not. Who's with me? Give me an aye. All right, let's press on. Pay attention to what I mentioned: discipline, focus, and consistency. If these are your cornerstones, your authenticity and drive will cause you to bubble to the surface in your field, and no one will be able to stop you. And I mean no one. Now here's the stuff that y'all don't want to hear. I know. I had to do it. Discipline comes with a price tag. I'm sorry. Discipline is costly. It demands a continual investment of time, energy, and commitment at the expense of momentary pleasure and ease. Can I get a woosta if y'all know what I'm talking about? Discipline means putting in hours of practice to win the prize of skill. Discipline means giving up short-term benefits for the hope of future gain. Discipline means pressing on to excellence long after everyone has settled for average. As a teenager, I discovered that I was a talented athlete, sprinter and jumper. I won an athletic scholarship to Rice University in Houston, Texas. I trained 6 days a week. Can I tell y'all the truth though? I abhorred going to the track and I hated putting in the work. I cheated on the 2-lap warm-up almost every single time. Yes, I did. Oh gosh, total delinquent. But I always trained like a beast anyways, because I knew that the euphoria I would feel when I performed at a high level was worth it. I'm highly competitive. Don't forget I was a shark in Monopoly. I always wanted to win, but I knew that there is a recipe for greatness. That culture of hard work translated into every aspect of my life when I became a realtor. 17 years later, onlookers see what appears to be a smooth, successful businesswoman who has it all together. But where were they when almost every night I was up to 2 a.m., eyes bleeding, trying to fine tune some aspect of the business, whether it was figuring out how to attract customers, tweaking my marketing plan, adding content to my website, or figuring out where is the money coming from? I invested hours of my time. In order to reap the fruit, you must often sow the seeds way in advance. Water them and wait. You don't like that word wait, do you? Will the harvest be bountiful? It depends on the investment you make today. But don't be discouraged by the wait. Boy, do we hate hearing about waiting. But remember, seed time and harvest time are not the same. There is a season for everything under the sun, so do not despise your sacrifice. Be patient, and here comes this word again, wait. Wait. You can thank me later. Discipline turns talent to greatness. Poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow shared much insight when he wrote, and I quote, "The heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward in the night." That's you. If you want to reach your potential, you have to attach a strong work ethic to your gift. God deposited that gift inside of you for a reason. Pay attention to your strengths. They will make a way for you, I promise. That strong pull that you feel as an entrepreneur to do what you do was breathed into you. It's not by chance. You are a designer's original. And if you pay attention to the blueprint of your DNA, you will be extremely successful. In primary school, every report about me said without fail, she's a good student, works well in class, but she talks a little too much. What they cried down as a curse was indeed my gift. They just didn't know how to define it. It has paved the way for me in every business arena I enter. I've always been told that I have a sweet mouth. I can sell ice to Eskimos, and I can get you to pay me to buy the shoes already on your feet. Look at those unique traits about you that are often cried down or critiqued harshly. They may actually be your superpower to distinguish you from the masses, but the world doesn't know what to make of them. Pay attention. You might just need to figure out how best to harness those traits to set you apart. Now, a small magnifying glass can convert the sun's rays into a powerful laser. Once you have identified your gifts and harnessed your strength, you now have to give them direction. You must have a laser-like focus. Always remember that a magnifying glass can convert the sun's rays into a laser beam and start a small fire that can burn down an entire forest. A martial artist can harness the power of his chi and break a stack of concrete blocks with an open palm. What could you do if you harness your trauma, your pain, your successes, your disappointments, your determination, and your skill? When I was in college, I knew that to qualify for the Olympic Games, I had to surpass my country's national record in the long jump, which was 6.40 meters. So I wrote down 6.41 meters on a little piece of paper, stuck it up at the head of my bed, on the wall at the side of my bed, on my desk, and had it scribbled on another piece of paper, which I stuck into my shoe. But why though? Why? Because I had to see that every day. That figure became embedded in my psyche, so much so that my body had no choice but to action what it was being programmed to do. One day, after being mad at my coach, I harnessed that anger into positive momentum and boom, jumped 6.43 meters, just over 21 feet, 1¼ inches, a national Barbadian record, which will stay on the record books for 19 years. It was also an Olympic qualifying mark. I was ecstatic. Representing my country at the Centennial Games was an indescribable feeling. I was officially one of the elite. Less than 1% of 1% of 1% of the world had made it to this level, and I was inducted into the club. I was at the pinnacle of sport, a lifelong dream. A few days before my long jumping event in Atlanta, there was a practice meet, and it started raining cats and dogs. I was the last jumper on the tarmac that day. And just before lightning hit, I ran, I took off, slipped on a wet board, and I could feel my leg tear in 3 parts. Now, I have told this story for 20-something years, and I have never not got emotional. In that sandpit, I had all at once achieved the highest high and the lowest low at the very same time. And what traumatized me most was not my leg being torn, but how do I call my mother and father and tell them that the dream is over? I watched my event from the dorm on TV. What do you do when that happens to you? I knew what it was to cry for 2 days and run out of tears. What do you do? Well, Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. I don't need to tell you, I was depressed for months afterwards. But that experience created in me a resilience that is unparalleled. It will take a lot to break me in my career. My real estate signs are often sabotaged, I know, by other realtors, jump kicked, torn down. Do I stop and cry and feel sorry for myself? Hell to the NO. I make another one and I put it back up as many times as it's taken down. I even have it in my budget for repairing and creating new signs. Some people get annoyed by my marketing style as it's very in your face. Am I bothered? Hashtag unapologetic. I'm here to stay and I will not be moved. That's what that experience did to me. You can't mess with my mind. Huh? You know what I've been through? Olympics down in the sand, torn hamstring 3 places and watching my event on TV. You can't mess with me. With 66 sales, either pending or closed since the start of my financial year, I repeat, I will not be moved. The Olympic mindset in me does not dumb down itself to accommodate your insecurities. I'm a winner. So that is what I do. So as we wind down, let me share some other tips with you. And this is the cherry on top. Focus. One thing I mastered in track and field was the ability to block out the noise. Quick story. Let me show you what happens when you don't. When I was 14 years old, I represented my country, Barbados, in my first ever international meet. First time running for Barbados, I was so fussy. And the meet was in Jamaica, Carifta Games. Oh my gosh, I was just trying to make it to the semifinals. I would have left my country with the best marks, with the best times ever, and I was ready, ready to get to the semifinals. I was fussy. And this is how they started off the lineup. Let me jump to lane number 3. In lane number 3, we have Michelle out of St. Lucia. She's the national record holder. She has ran 22 point and she has In lane number 5, out of Jamaica, she has won the Boys and Girls Challenge Meet. She has a national record. She's set to go to In lane number 5, Sharita Howard. In lane number 6, out of Trinidad and Tobago, she is the national champion of And this went on like this from lane 1 to lane 8. I was the only person who had no accolades behind my name. What do you think happened to my mind by the time they got to lane 8? In my head, I gracefully placed myself at the back. What position do you think I came in that race? A humbling 8th, and not just 8th, but like way at the back. People were dressed and I'm now coming through the line. Why? Because this is the perfect example of what absorbing the noise around you does to your mind. In my business life, I have a highly evolved skill where I can block out the noise. It's the noise that will suffocate your dreams. It's the noise that will constantly tell you that you're not good enough or that idea can't work. It's the seeds of doubt that will destroy you from the inside out. So what do? You want some tips? Let me give you some tips. Number 1, you have to learn to just have a select few friends, probably 2 or less, that you can share ideas with because they're genuinely rooting for you. Not everyone is wearing pom-poms in support of your journey. And a lot of the times it's your family. Ooh, ouch. Remember my story of the hostile work environment? Not everybody is rooting for you. Your advancement is often seen as a threat and a nuisance to others. Secondly, you have to learn to cut off negative external talk when you hear it coming. Perfect example. You remember when the recession started back in 2008, 2009, whatever. When people talked about the recession and all the distress it was causing, even though I was struggling too, I calmly told them, no, I'm not participating in the recession this year. I'm not. And guess what? My mind acted as if I was not in a recession, and I set things in place to do well thereafter. And thirdly, you have to learn to encourage yourself. You dig up some affirmations, you listen to motivational speeches, you go to inspirational workshops and seminars. You do what it takes to pump yourself up. Never take your eye off the prize. That is focus. Now, here's the deal. You may not have gone to the Olympics, you may not have ripped your leg to shreds before the biggest day of your life, but all of you have a story. Each of you has your own narrative. Some of you have been blessed to skip and hop along a bed of roses to get here, but the majority of you have been laced with drama, misfortune, disappointments, hard knocks. Sounding familiar? So what do you do to dominate your career, your business, your life? This is where you need to have a tough introspection. It's painful. Yes, I know. No one likes to shine the spotlight on their life, but it's necessary for growth. So here we go. The why, the what, the when. On many occasions as an entrepreneur, you will hate what you're doing. What did she just say? You will hate what you're doing. Yes, I said it. Do you think that in any marriage there is bliss and happiness from beginning to end? Hell to the end? Oh, absolutely not. There will be periods of absolute disdain for what you do. Yes, you're normal. It's okay. A client might give you the mother of all bad reviews, which threatens to sink your business. Losses might follow losses, year after year. I remember my accountant telling me every year, after the third or fourth or fifth loss, don't worry, Sharita, next year will be better. Next year, I promise you, next year again. Employees or team members might drain you and you preoccupy yourself with how to get rid of them. This is when you must dig up your why. Why did you start this in the first place, man? Many moons ago, I watched a program called Three Wishes, in which singer Amy Grant went into various small towns, heard the people's desires, whether it was for a homemaker, a home makeover help, assistance with medical procedures or repairs to some aspect of the tongue itself. I remember watching it one night and watching a student who stuttered horribly. It was bad. He couldn't even finish a sentence properly. He was so demoralized and shared how he was highly intelligent, but because he couldn't express himself well, he was written off as stupid. He wanted to stop stuttering. They honored his wish by giving him an earpiece that allowed him to hear himself nanoseconds before he spoke. And then shortly after implanting this device, he spoke fluently. The program ended with him delivering a speech to an auditorium full of classmates with the confidence of Obama. What a tearjerker that was for me. I remember deciding that day, I wanted to do that, make more than enough money to help others. Every now and again, when you're in your deep places, a flashback to your why will help you remember your what. What is it that you initially envisioned that's going to make this a reality? Well, my initial vision was for a kind of a property shop when it came to real estate, like a kind of a shoe shop, you know? Come and pick out your pair of shoes. Don't ask me to go in the back and look for a size 10. If you see yellow there, that's all there is. Don't ask me for anything else. That is what I envisioned with real estate. Come to my little property shop, pick up one. Don't ask me to hunt for anything for you. Choose wisely. Well, After years of conducting real estate as my country's culture dictated, which is being everything to everyone, I was exhausted and going nowhere fast. I hated answering the phone, but didn't think I was big enough. You know, I wasn't at a big enough stage yet to have a receptionist or an admin to help me. So I hated it. I started to suffer from burnout. I would say in year 9 to 10, I was thinking of how to get out of this. But then I made a decision. That's the when. The when was right now. You know what? I'll go back to my original vision. My property shop, where I represent sellers only. And so I promoted myself as a listing agent. I had built enough of a strong social media following by then and a good set of listings. So this was as good the time as any to take a gamble. It paid off, and it paid off big. Properties started to sell like crazy, and I wasn't wasting time running up and down with buyers who could take as long as 1 to 3 years to commit. Lord, why didn't I think of this before? God's timing is perfect. The when. I made rules to suit me. I am not getting off my couch until you show me you have the money. If you want to hire me, I am not negotiating on my commission. If your property already has 3 to 4 agents promoting it, I am not interested. Don't care how many millions it is, as I have to ensure I always recoup my marketing and advertising costs. If an owner hounds me a little too much, doesn't take my advice, or seems a little shady, I'll encourage him to choose another realtor. That's my rule book right there, folks. Yeah, that's the playbook. The when isn't always crystal clear from the beginning. Listen to this. I'll repeat. The when isn't always crystal clear from the beginning. It took me to about year 9 to 10 to figure out when. The dots often aren't easily connected when you look forward. The dots, however, are easily connected when you look backward. When I look back, everything made sense. I needed that experience to make me be as steadfast as I was in my rules. Your experiences and the perfect timing, that's what will make you, that's what will make your when powerful. More importantly, and y'all entrepreneurs need to hear this, I set boundaries. What's that, Sharita? Thank you for asking. I'm not working on Fridays. No, I take the entire Fridays off. I play tennis in the mornings. I have my reality shows lined up to watch. I go and get pedicures, sometimes manicures, sometimes massages, or I do absolutely nothing. I don't work on Saturdays after 12 o'clock. I don't work on Sundays. I'm not answering client calls before 8:30 a.m. or after 7 p.m. When I go on holiday, I will set an out of office message, and I will take a minimum of 3 vacations a year. Yes, my rules are something serious. But my redefined playbook caused my business to soar to a whole nother level. And guess what? As a result, I'm able to achieve my why, help others climb too. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I will remind you that your story is what differentiates you from the rest. Stop trying to be like everyone else. Stop it. Yes, amass the knowledge from programs such as this. They're invaluable in guiding you on the path that will save you a lot of pain and a lot of stress. Soak up as much as you can. However, once the wheels of your operation have started turning, then reevaluate if it's a true representation of you. Because let's be honest, sometimes you're just trying to make money initially. You don't have time to think about vision and all that. You're just hustling for $1. But when your business starts to take off and get a rhythm, reevaluate, is this a true representation of you? Pivot accordingly. I pivoted and it works wonders. And COVID has helped all of us to know very well what pivoting means. I don't need to school you on that. I don't need to school you. Be disciplined, highly focused, and watch the stars start to align. You will find a magical formula. You will crack the code, yeah? And you will start the climb. Few, however, have mastered the trick of how to get to the top and stay there. And it comes down to my last point, one simple word: consistency. As you climb, for some it's fast, for some it's gradual, for some it's years, for some it's months. Observe, gather feedback, tweak the formula, repeat. As you climb, observe, gather feedback, tweak the formula, repeat. Again, again, again. Congratulations, folks. If you die tomorrow, you will have left a legacy that can be kept alive, positively impacting the world for years to come. Look at KFC. Colonel Sanders started a business in his 60s, for God's sakes, with, ironically, his magical formula. What keeps the brand going is consistency. The chicken will taste the same no matter where you go. The service level, for the most part, will repeat itself from place to place. Consistency. He is dead and gone. His legacy lives on. In conclusion, my friends, harness the power of your story. Add discipline, add focus, add consistency, and stir. 15 minutes in, when the batter is getting tough and your hands are getting tired from stirring, sprinkle in your white, your what, and your when to soften it. And when all else fails, just remember that you are an entrepreneur, handpicked by the Creator himself for such a time as this. You are a designer's original. You didn't choose this. This chose you. In whatever state your business is, in whatever state you personally are in, you are right where you are supposed to be. So, are you ready to continue the adventurous drama? Oh, the journey. Oh, lost the journey. Or do you want to hit your reset button and do it all over drama-free? Where's that going to get you? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the opportunity to share my journey with you. I think I'm going to continue wherever it leads. And remember, after all, I am one of you. Thank you.
Wow, Charita, thank you so much. That was an amazing remarks, an amazing speech. I hope that you will get a chance to look through the chat, and we can send you a copy of it. The feedback and the response from the fellows has been really incredible. I think you have absolutely struck a nerve. You are one of us, and I think there's like a strong feeling. Everybody's clapping in the chat. So thank you so much, Charita. This was fantastic and a fantastic way to kick off our week. Thank you for sharing your story.